Hey, I think you're live.
Three, two, one, tro. Hey friends, it's good to be back. So welcome to the return of Fro Poetry Collective's poetry open mic series. So we're very glad to be back. It's a bit odd to do poetry readings on a virtual space rather than in a physical space. But we do what we must. We do what we must during these difficult times. April 1st is April Fools, but it is also the start of National Poetry Month. And this year, the theme of the League of Canadian Poets is resilience. So I hope that we all laugh because it's April Fools, but we will also remember to be resilient at the end of it. So we have a lovely show planned for you tonight. We have 6 people performing poems. Some will be singing. There'll be quite a bit of variety. We have different genres, and it's a very exciting program altogether. So yeah, this is not a slam. It's a bit more casual for those who are used to our shows. So we'll just get started by getting started with our first performer, Harleen. So if Harleen is ready, we can pass it on to.
Hi, thank you so much for having me, and I'm really happy to be part of this. Again, it does feel really weird being online, but I got really excited when I saw this event was happening because I was missing through quite a bit. So it's really nice to be back in any way. Um, I will be performing 2 pieces today. It is National Poetry Month, which just makes me really happy, and I've set an intention to focus on poetry a lot this year. I mean, this month, but also this year. So the first poem I'm actually going to perform is part of a little series of video poems that I'm making that I will be releasing on my social media throughout this month. So y'all are getting a little sneak peek. Well, not a sneak peek, you're getting the full peek. And if you like it, then feel free to give me a follow and share the piece with no pressure. But I'm really happy to just be performing it live before posting it online in that way, because my spoken word, I've always loved to do it live. So yeah, and then I'll be doing another piece afterwards. So this first piece is called The Snowflake Generation. Entitled and lazy, raging communists, socialists, and feminazis, ungrateful social justice warriors, attention-seeking, oversensitive, Peter Pan syndrome, can't even figure out what gender they are, trigger warning obsessed, iPhone addicted, babies. Yes, we've already heard it all. You insult us, call us narcissistic, as we fight to unearth even the previous generations of stories that have been silenced. Buried in circumstance-imposed failure, in student debt, in the suffocation of our dreams, we decided to choose justice over compliance. And if our need for justice offends you, then get prepared because we will only get more and more offensive. You criticize us because we care, as if you have never yourself cared, as if caring is not the most human thing one could do. Yes, we are the snowflake generation. Crystalline, translucent, demands your stillness, feathery, iridescent, pure and sacred, infinite in possibilities, make sculptures from our defiance. Together we have the power to break down, topple, and destroy, build, rebuild, defend, and enjoy. If you ask us what we are, we will tell you we are everything we've been waiting for. If you ask us why we are, know that you are not entitled to that answer, but if you listen closely, you may find it in the alleyways of pronoun checks and Instagram hashtags, at the riverbanks of school dress code rebellion and climate change protests, along the foothills of our body painted rainbow flags and suicide attempt confessions. We wear our fire on our sleeves, our tears on our necks, and our hearts in our mouths. No, we are not perfect. The world we will build will not be perfect. So we will make our demands for ourselves infinite. We will never settle. We will never sit back. We will never overlook another life, another voice, another breath, or another choice. You may belittle us, stomp on us, attempt to divide us, but still we will show up and we will scream. Yes, we may be the snowflake generation, but what we are waiting for is spring. Thank you. That's the snowflake generation. If you like that poem and would like to share it, give me a follow on social media. Storm called Harleen. Harleen spelled Harleen. All right, I have another piece. This one is just was like in my notes, but I wrote it during the pandemic, and it was a few months into the pandemic, and it's inspired by this conversation I had with my roommate, where we were in the kitchen along like the counter, just like we often stand and eat as we talk. We were having cereal, and there was this like weird feeling of like we're in a global pandemic and yet we're just having cereal, like we're having breakfast, and there's this weird surrealness and contradiction of like how we view catastrophic events versus like the day-to-day. So this is inspired by that. It's not about the pandemic per se, but it's a little piece I wrote called Coffee. What you don't realize is that the apocalypse comes in. Okay, sorry. What you don't realize is that the apocalypse comes, and the next morning you will stand by your kitchen counter pouring yourself a bowl of cereal. Floods, frogs, locusts, but the earth still spins on its 23 degrees axis and orbits around the sun. By the time I wake up today, it's noon. The date is November 25th, the temperature 25 degrees, the air level at 6.5, and driving is discouraged. I reach for the unexpectedly light box of frosted flakes and dump the last of the cereal into a bowl. Open my fridge. Damn, running low on milk. We'll need to make another trip to the grocery store. The cashiers wear hazmat suits now and no longer have a salary enough to feed themselves, ironically, as they spend their days restocking shelves of pastas, cookies, and freeze-dried coffee. I go to sit by my desk by my window, trellises of vines falling around me, and I ask myself, what day again do I need to feed the plants? The air filters also need replacing. Outside, the air is less clear, a gray sky and heavy, thick mist enveloping cars and buildings that haven't felt human touch in months. I open my planner to the calendar and notice my niece's birthday scheduled for next week. Scheduled. A birthday. Though I haven't seen her in 2 years, 5 months, and 14 days. Not at arm's length anyway. I wonder if she can read yet. I'll have to remember to ask my sister when I call next week. She's been struggling. She never signed up to be a teacher. My thoughts are interrupted by a loud buzz coming from above. My God, they don't take a lunch break. Military choppers, though not sure what exactly they're searching for in this dead city. Peace patrols. I remember the name used last week in a news clip. My cat, sleepily awake, makes her way across the living room and climbs onto my desk beside me. She's not looking outside, she's looking at me. Hungry? Her eyes are still half closed. She's been sleeping about 15 hours. Cats. Though I also slept longer than usual last night. Probably why I feel groggy this morning. I have a confession. On lethargic mornings like this, I don't brush my teeth. Mika gives out a terribly elongated yawn. The feeling's mutual, I tell her. Let's make some coffee. Thank you.
Hello. Harleen, are you still with us?
I am.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, Harleen, for sharing those lovely, lovely poems. They were both quite lovely. I was both very, very touched. How do you feel now? Do you feel like you were that how do you feel now after having delivered them, if you don't mind me asking?
Having delivered the specific poem specifically in this online or
Yeah.
just in general?
Yeah,
Um,
like the experience of doing it online particularly
yeah.
versus the room.
To be honest, I'm really grateful. I think during complex, hard, struggling times, I'm really impressed by how the human spirit just continues to find ways to connect. And so this is the way we have to do it now, but it's amazing that we're doing it. So I'm really grateful to be part of it.
Thank you. And thank you for for sharing your poems with us. We really appreciate it, Harleen. So thank you, Harleen. We will now move on to our next poet, the amazing Raisa Simon. Let's give it up for Raisa.
Hi guys. I was like sure that I was going to be the technical difficulty one of the bunch because I'm terrible at Zoom. So I was like, oh no, I'm going to be the one who fiddles with her video the whole time, but it's all good. Happy everybody's healthy and safe. I guess I'll do 3 poems if that's cool. I'm going to kick it off with one that I wrote maybe around a year ago. This is called Torpor. The echidna is the only mammal that can survive a wildfire. Their adaptation allows them to conserve energy in times of scarcity. While in torpor, the echidna can live without sustenance and emerge after the environmental threat has passed, malnourished but alive. He will carve you a wooden cutout of your old cat and a snake named Buster. He will take you to an Indian restaurant and say that he sees years of summer in your spine and a bathtub of tea in your toe steps. He is as red as the men before him, who were roses and exploded to the point of music. Red as men who stitch wood to skin, and red as men who bullet flesh to promise. And he is as red as the men who split your teeth open. And he is as red as the men who purpled your skin. When he calls you screaming, you don't hang up the phone. The echidna hums in reassuring tones, and its stomach nests nutrients in preparation for natural disaster. The echidna's adaptive insides quiet the brain's reaching for food, for water, for touch, for tender. The echidna has lived in the forest for a very, very long time. The sky watches the echidna and says, men who set themselves on fire cannot keep you warm. He may look like the sun, but wolves have always conned sheep with cropped clothing, and you know this. You don't have to eat dust to inhabit this earth. If he needs to hunt something, let him be both the spider and the fly. You are the sky, and your fidelity is only to the sparrows. Tell him. You can by letting it be blue, by letting it rise to crescents and sigh a morning to the planet. But he tried to catch the sky in a butterfly net, as if by setting enough fires, a tree would snap, and oaken tenderness float from her trunk. So, boy, don't ask for her hand unless you can match its lines to the mountains. And a grasshopper laughs and says, you self harm by falling in love with men who would spit on women for parting our lips. And so what if you stopped? Splitting limbs off your body so better to reach everyone. Don't you know that a quilt is knitted to be touched whole? Why do you rip leaf blades off your branches for men who will not even place their palms to your bark? And then I say, the saddest thing is that the sky cannot see herself. Isn't that terrible? And then the sky turns to the fire and says, do you know how lonely it is to be made out of everything? And to know that everyone who sees you can only see 1/1000th of your body. And then the sky says, I am sorry. I'm sorry that when you reached for my hands, they were just rain. And that I can never keep track of time because I spend my days pacing the sun. And I'm sorry that I'm only red in October and can only cradle a wildfire for miles. And I'm really only good for staying when dying men set their eyes to me to pray. And then he looks away and he says, should we call it off? And the sky says, I guess I'm just not very good at being a girlfriend. Cool. So that's thanks, y'all. I see your snaps. Yes, that's my poem called Torpor. I have a video for that up on YouTube, and I think it's on my Facebook page as well. So feel free to check that out if you're into it. I don't want to take up too much time because I know there's a good chunk of other folks who who want to share stuff. Yeah, so I'll do one longer one and then one quick one and then pass it on to Riley here. This is a poem called Tell Me Where It Hurts. Tell me about your hands and their tunnel vision, about how every part of you is widened eyes. Tell me where it hurts. Let's place fingertips over the ridges of wounds. Let's manage those canyons. Then tell me where he took you and which room it was and how you resent your own bed now. Tell me his name, and then spit into your hand. And then tell me her name and where on the stairs she'll block your body in and scream at you that you were such a bitch, but at least now you know. Those cocaine-stained faces were never your home. And then tell me about when they didn't believe you, and about being webbed through the internet in long status lines around your neck. And tell me about betrayal that makes Caesar's fate look mild. And tell me about the child in you dying every time you learn that people are not kind. And then tell me about the kind ones, about your friend and her father making you seafood chowder. You see, there is some care that is so quiet that it is louder than any hate. Tell me about those open couches and cigarette offers and those walks by the lake and your friend who would tell you stories about the hospital like they were liturgies. And then tell me about a swelling in your throat and having no one to tell, and tell me about the quotes you would write on your own leg to better claim it. Tell me about the drug dens when doing your doctorate and about locked doors and cocked pepper spray bottles. Tell me their names. Tell me about the anarcho-hypocrites and the patch punk hisses and double-dutching doublespeak. Tell me about weakness, about waking up to cuts that you can't remember making. Tell me if waste is possible, if we ever say goodbye to the tremors, if we throw away pain or grow back kid gloves over calluses. Tell me which ground will take our graveled over paths, will welcome our unmissed memories. Tell me if there are graveyards for this. Tell me where it hurts. These things were made for the earth. Thanks, y'all. Sorry, I should have given a trigger warning for, I always, whenever I write my poems, I tend to forget the the important part of that when you share them, it's important to make sure that people feel safe. And I always very internally write them, scribble them out, and then forget upon sharing with people the content of my own poems. So I apologize for that. I'm going to do one last poem for you all. This is a newer piece that I think I scribbled this down very recently. I don't know who else is writing pandemic poems, but that's been my big theme. Is just writing about mostly missing people and missing all of your faces, all of you folks here, and yeah, and feeling far away. So I wrote a poem called Closer. So yeah, I'll close this off with this, and then we'll pass things on to Riley and the other performers. All right. It is springtime, and we are learning to love backwards. In a white spot city and in these red zone homes, the birds still know the sound of the season. A nest in the hand holds us to one another. Knit safely like telephone lines, we are meeting meters apart. Kid games and cat filters keep us close. I am now holding you by holding back. Tell me, what is the size of something that everyone feels? But you are still so pretty when you look in the other direction. And nothing is little if you learn to love it properly. It is all right if everything is incomprehensible. The earth does not know the sun's name. It still knows to circle her. That tea can still steam your cheeks in bed. Cats still pillow in croissant-shaped hearths and know how to be happy. Your bones know how to be happy. I can still know you, even in checkered time. The plants have withered, yes. And I am sorry that we are diced by space and that all I can give you is distance. But I will keep you in a home miles from your own. Safety is a photograph of a warm dinner. It is springtime, and I can love you forward. That's it for me, y'all. Thanks for listening. If you like my stuff, you're always more than welcome to follow me on the social medias. I'm basically at Raisa Simone on everything. So yeah, feel free to follow me if you like my stuff. Throwing it back to you now, Riley.
Thank you, Raisa. Thank you so much. It's a Raisa poem because it cuts deep. It cuts very deep. No? Thank you for sharing that. And also, thank you also for reminding us. I do apologize. I forgot to mention it earlier. But spoken word does tend to deal with emotionally difficult stuff sometimes. So please do give or content warnings if there's some triggering content in your pieces. I'll leave it up to you to be to judge which should or should not have one. So thank you, Raisa. Thank you very much. So we move on now to MCC, who will sing us a song. Let us go on to MCC. Thank you.
Hey everybody, how's it going? It's been quite a journey. Oh boy. So these are some songs I wrote quite a while ago, but I don't think I've really performed them very much live. I just gotta play them for myself and friends and stuff. So I should probably perform them at some point for people. So here we go. The first one is called The Way She Goes. Something a lot of people up north would say. It must have been a saloon, the way she looked at me. I thought my death come soon, and she would sign the deed. I wanted to get to the other side of her bedroom, but now I'm looking at the scripture of my own doom. Oh, 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 it's the way she, yeah, it's the way she, yeah, it's the way she goes. Oh, 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 it's it's the way she, yeah, it's the way she, yeah, it's the way she goes. I don't know why. I can't even try. It's been a wild ride. On the other side, you can see inside yourself. Come along with me and see for yourself. Kiss me one more time before I break the spell. It must have been a saloon, the way she looked at me. I thought my death come soon, and she would sign the deed. I wanted to get to the other side of her bedroom, but now I'm looking at the rapture of my own doom. Oh, 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 it's the way she, yeah, it's the way she, yeah, it's the way she goes. Oh, oh, yeah, it's the way she, oh, it's the way she, yeah, it's the way she goes. I don't know why. I can't even try. Applause! Shower me with the joy. Oh man, I miss audiences so much. Oh my gosh. This is a barn burner and there's no barn to burn. Oh god. But thanks so much for listening. I got like one more song. And that'll be it for me. Just a quick check. How are the levels? Riley, is everything sounding okay?
Everything sounds wonderful. You sound wonderful.
Lovely. Okay, I'm getting some like yellow lights, which I think are bad, but okay, maybe not. Okay, the next song is I Don't Care. I don't know if you know that I know that you know that we're going nowhere. We're going nowhere. I don't care if you care. That I don't care if you don't care. That we're going nowhere. We're going nowhere. Well, I don't know if you know that I care. If you care. That we're going somewhere. That's it for me. Chip chip tree. Back to you, Riley.
Thank you, MCC. That was That was such a bop. Those were so lovely. Thank you and it's lovely to see words and music come together.
I know, who would have thought you could put poetry into songs? Oh, jeez.
Because we don't allow it at slams. We don't allow it at slam. Well, I mean, we don't allow guitars at slam. We don't mind if you sing. Anyway, thank you so much for that. Again, for that rendition. We'll now move on to our next poet. We have Matt. Is he still here? Or did Matt? Oh, apologies, folks. We're just having a little bit of technical difficulties. Give us just, I will fill the time by, telling you what I did this morning, because I have a cat who comes in and Matt is here. You don't have to hear the boring story about my cat. So everyone, I'm very, very proud to introduce the next poet. We have Matt. Matthew is now ready for us.
Thank you. I wanted to hear the story of your cat, but I guess that'll wait for another time. Okay, so I'm going to be performing a couple of poems and prose from my collection, Memento Mori, and I will give out a trigger warning ahead of time. So all of my pieces are untitled, and here we go. Even if there's no visual, as long as you guys could hear me, that's okay. I'll give you a minute. There we go. All right, I'm back. So, and here I go for my first piece. Your heart was in a place where angels go to play, so willing to feel love in search all night and day. My heart was running free, gave out love to no one soul, was blinded by the sorrow, fighting life to become whole. You waited for my love through all seasons of the year. I held your hand, but nothing more. For that, I'm sorry, dear. The time has come in frigid arms for life to carry on. My spirit stayed in haunting. Yours decided to move on. I hope he treats you right. Purple roses for your heart. My soul now feels abandoned, yet my mind is feeling smart. Don't get me wrong, I'm happy, love. You may now feel complete. How selfish of me at this time to turn my back and weep. That was my first piece. My first couple of pieces are going to be more on the romantic side, but don't worry, all of you, it will get darker. So for my second piece, another untitled piece. As you melt between my fingers, escaping from my arms, I ask in desperation, please stay. Wait a moment more. Slow down that beating heart of yours. After time and after love, please stay. No man was made this perfect, false programmed through the years. I only use her body. Darling, stay. There is no life without you. Life alone cannot exist. I built this bed of roses for us to lay. You are my flesh and spirit, tattooed within my heart. It's life with you or nothing. Darling, stay. Thank you. That was my second piece. All right. Third piece. I passed by your house last night. It felt just like a dream. Reviving happy memories, my heart began to scream. I guess he makes you happy. That's all that really counts. Still waiting for your message to settle all accounts. It might have been my fault if I lost grip of your soul. Was busy working hard to keep this friendship whole. I rarely think about you, except on lonely nights. When thoughts and hearts collide, my soul turns on the lights. As days will pass, I'll miss you less. Perhaps one day we'll fix this mess. Thank you. So now we move into the bit darker side. So, all right. As the ink of my pen is soon to run dry, I sit in this chair and just wonder why. I feel how I feel and do what I do. This sentiment in me is nothing but new. I wanted to leave and never come back. This ghost in my shadow should cut me some slack. What causes this pain is yet to be known. As I stare in the mirror, I wish I'd be shown. Some days more than others, I question my faith. One day I'll lay hurting until it's too late. The sun is still shining, a solar eclipse. Lord, send me the answer, or merely some tips on how to get by when my soul feels this numb. What deed must I pay to no longer run from these demons, these monsters that haunt me at wake? Someone lend me a hand as I drown, for God's sake. Thank you. I will be performing one last piece. So thank you guys. And here it goes. I find comfort in the darkness. Long nights spent drowning in this infinite obscurity. Wickedness of the moment, sin, evil, all is there. The theme of life has been despair. These shadows are my friends now, by my side through lonely nights. They talk, I listen. Tell me what I'm doing wrong. Keep me up to date. Tell me things I must not hear and make me question faith. Friends that take my breath away, that choke me with this rope. I fight them off from dusk till dawn until there is no hope. I find comfort in this pain, sudden manifestation of existence, a rush of consciousness, a body so aware of its ignorant mind. Scare me till I'm out of life. These eyelids shall now close. My soul is melting at my feet. I now self-diagnose. So thank you guys, very contrasty pieces. They come from my collection, Memento Mori, that I wrote about 2 years ago. And yeah, thank you guys for listening.
Thank you so much, Matt. And yeah, you heard it. Go support your artists. Go buy their merchandise. Go buy everyone's merchandise. I will plug all my merchandise later. During my time. Thank you so much, Matt. Those were very, very lovely poems, and I look forward to reading more. So, our next poet, very, very exciting. It's very, very. I think it's my first time to listen to their works. I'm very excited. So we have Nikki. So let's hear Nikki's.
Hello, how is the sound coming through on my end, everyone? Grand, very well, beautiful. My name is Nikki Montanas. My pronouns are they, her, elle, and I tell stories. I tell stories, and I share words, And today I'm feeling the vibe of this evening, and it's very uplifting. It's very inspiring. It's very honest, and let's reset the room. of a piece that from my last zine that came out, Citations of Home. Hopefully you folks can see it. There you go. Citations of Home, Love and Language, Volume 1 out of 3. So let's go with Saturn Peach, Donut Peach. Here we go. I sit here holding this delicious fruit, flattened fruit, almost ripe, luscious. I'm brought back to the south of France 2 summers ago. It's 6 a.m. The docks are empty, the yachts and boats quietly bob along the turquoise waters. The sun is rising and painting the streets the color of peach that sits in my hand. A crisp breeze touches my arm. I enter the farmer's market and I take the first bite of this peach. It's juicy, sweet, slightly tart. So much that it pinches my cheeks to lift a smile on my face. I remember the salty waters. I remember the cobblestones. I remember the fusion of the Latin and Mediterranean air. The South. The vendors prepare themselves to face another colorful day to the colorful voices that will pass by their kiosk and the rallies of the day. They face another bravery of the wild, of the wind, and the sight and the sea, the salty air. I take another bite, a bit crunchy this time, and the sweetness fills my heart with joy. It fills my soul with wonder, and I breathe in that warm air, and from the coast and the seat, from my seat, I smile at the memory. Who would have thought this little peach, this Saturn peach, this flat peach, this donut peach, this fruit was the pinnacle of, some would say, the turning point of discovery, a sweet persica, a memento of la Côte d'Azur. Thank you. So I think I have room for another one. Something, this might be good. Citations of Home, Part 1. The indigo sky paints his way across the sunset clouds as we tuck away for another day. My heart steadfast, tight like a knot, I hold onto your arm as we walk across the dock. It's summer, the air is warm, and the town is full of life. Music lingers in the distance, and you pretend to play the trumpet just like Miles Davis. The cool sounds of sweet jazz sweep through the air, and we begin to sway. You extend your hand, and a short bow. A quick dance, you say. Your touch so delicate, I couldn't help but smile. That tiny caged bird inside me was too scared to sing her song. Yet, she asked herself, be kind, dear heart, for I stumble on my 2 left feet. Be kind, dear heart, so I can only conjure a pen and paper to speak what I truly desire. Yet, I watch and whisper and lift and watch that crooked smile of yours. A spotlight on us. I see your hand in every move we make. You know how to read me like an open book. You know, 1 step forward, 1 step back. We dip, we sway, we hop, and we turn. Eyes beaming with pride at every correct movement. Hearts beating, breath fleeting. Trying to catch up on what we've learned. The words you shared to guide me that flowed so fast, like the rhythm of the water, as you catch me such a speed, much like my 2 left feet. I take a pause. Stillness. It's quiet here in this moment. I stand here wondering how we found ourselves, lost between once escaping moment, and we dove head on to this journey. The stars feels further than I could reach, echoing into the night sky, crisp like the air between us. Our lives have collided past, for how the stars are so distant they can't hear the joy of laughter and love and friendship, and that feeling of syncopathed rhythm. Thank you. How much time do we have? We have time for another one?
We do. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I guess so. All right. This one's a short and sweet one. This one is inspired by my love for all things vintage, antique, and dusty. So I'm a collector of all things vintage or something that has a life story. And one day I was walking through the St. Henry neighborhood, and I came across this one shop that specialized in collecting furniture lighting and different types of antique furniture lighting, whether it's chandeliers, desk lightings from the 50s, from Art Deco eras, from different periods of time, from the Second World War till, I guess, overstock. And it just was a clutter of a landscape. And I saw this glass case, and inside this glass case was a porcelain doll. And this is what inspired this piece. So it's called The Glass Doll, La Poupée en Verre. It's a beautiful thing to be made out of porcelain, of white painted cheeks and painted glass eyes of blue, ribbons tied up in a bow holding these curls, with striped stockings pulled straight up to the knees, dollop with pigmented lips of crimson. It's tragically dull, that to be seen simply an antiquity, the shapes of our curves, an empty vessel, hidden behind a glass case, a pane of glass. Oh, what a beautiful thing is to dance and sing, held in the arms under the sun, caressed by your sun-kissed cheeks, reminiscent of the joys of once lived, of cowboys and Indians, mermaids and princes, pirates looking for lost treasure, yearning for the next adventure. These wings clip before they're even given the chance to fly. But what now? What's next for this little doll? Until you open the case to pick it up and say hello. I'm here, dear friend. Let's go out and play. Thank you.
Beautiful. Those were very beautiful poems. Like, thank you so much for sharing them tonight. Really moved. You brought me for an emotional journey. So thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure.
So now we only have one poet left, and unfortunately, it's me. No, unfortunately, it's me. So you don't have a choice this time. So I will be reading two poems. No, my name is Riley, by the way. I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Riley. Yeah, I'm a bad host. But I'm going to be reading two poems. The first, I wrote this in January after I met a guy. Well, I do have some content warnings. Content warning for mention of rape, content warning for mention of suicide, content warning for mention of mental health disorders. No? And the title of this poem is 10 Things I Don't Know How to Tell the Boy I Love. Number 1, I can't be your boyfriend because I'm not a boy. I'm non-binary. Gender is fluid. Number 2, after I was raped, I was asexual because I hated sex. You turned me on again. Sexuality also is fluid. Number 3, it took 30 years of failed relationships, bad wine, and even worse, poetry. But you were worth the wait. Number 4, my biggest promise is to not be the person you will complain to your therapist about. Number 5, I am at my most calm when I'm with you, but I also meditate, medicate, and libate. I worry about when those won't be enough. Sometimes all it takes to end a relationship is one bad day. Number 6, your acting is terrible. But I will still role play with you because you're my baby. And I know it makes you happy even though my artistic integrity is compromised. Number 7, Taurus Libra rising with a Libra moon is a very indecisive sign. This makes your I love yous even more sweeter. Number 8, when you call me beautiful or sexy or cute, I believe you, though the insecure part of me will always wonder if you lie. Number 9, recently I listened to a playlist of songs that reminded me of all the men I've ever loved. It took a whole afternoon, After all, I'm 31, I have BPD, and I'm a slut, no? I relived memories. I laughed. I cried. I said thank you. And I said goodbye. Number 10, after our first date, I texted my best friend, bro, I swear, this is the one. So that's it for the first poem. It's very and the the second poem is a bit more recent, was actually written yesterday. And it's actually about the cat. So I will actually be telling the cat story now, because in the form of a poem called The Stray. I feed a cat who isn't mine. She doesn't want to come in. Why would she? She is friends with everyone, and everyone feeds her. She is the queen of the building, the backyard, the streets. I wish for her to be my pet, but a heart that refuses is a heart that's free. For now, I'll stay and pet her until she finds a human she'd adore, enough to live with and call her own. Ding dong, ding dong. Oops, excuse me, cat. Here comes the boy who is not my boyfriend. So that's it for the second poem. So thank you. It's very weird. I'm hosting and I'm reading. So thank you very much, Riley. You're very much welcome. So thank you to everyone. So do we have any last minute readers who would like to read from the crowd, perhaps?
Oh, we might not get anyone from the audience because they're all over on YouTube.
They're all over on YouTube.
I know. We can't.
It's weird not doing this live, where we could just drag people on stage, read.
We used to give hugs. We used to give like quirky presents. We used to give bad jokes. Now none of. Well, I guess I could give a bad joke. We're at the end of the show, so I wanted to promote Throw Poetry Collective. It's a lovely community of people who helps to, just make poetry available to people. It's good for us in these times. We'll be having a general assembly pretty soon, and we'll be announcing that on our Facebook. It'll be a chance for people to get in, participate, find out who all these lovely, cool people are who've been like putting on the show. You can't see them, but they're like snapping and applauding and stuff. So look out for that on Facebook, and thanks so much for coming. Again, big ups to Riley, who was our host for tonight. Thanks so much, Riley.
And big up to you, for doing a lot of the, organizing, and thanks also to Dina. Let's give big props to Dina. Let's spotlight her for
Dina. Spotlight yourself. You have the
just
power.
because Dina was, running the tech behind the scenes all this time, and we also have Marika. I apologize. Who was the moderator of our YouTube stream? So hello, and we just wanted to give a shout out to the team that put this on, and of course, thank you to all the readers. To MCC, to Matt, to Nikki, to Rice, and to Harleen, and we hope to see you again next time.
Bye, everyone.